And can you, by no drift of circumstance, get from him why he puts on this confusion, granted so harshly all his days of quiet with turbulent and dangerous lunacy?
He does confess he feels himself distracted, but from what cause he will by no means speak.
Nor do we find him forward to be sounded, but with a crafty madness keeps aloof, when we would bring him on to some confession of his true state.
Did he receive you well? Most like a gentleman.
But with much forcing of his disposition.
Stingy of question, but of our demands most framed his reply. Did you essay him to any pastime? Madam, I self allowed that certain players were all on the way. Of these we told him, and there did seem in him a kind of joy to hear of it. They are about the court, and as I think they have already ordered this night to play before him.
'Tis most true, and he beseeched me to entreat your majesties to hear and see the matter.
With all my heart, and it doth much content me to hear him so inclined. Good gentlemen, give him a further edge, and drive his purpose onto these delights.
We shall, my lord.
Sweet Gertrude, leave us too. We must have closely sent for Hamlet hither, that he, as 'twere by accident, may hear, affront Ophelia. Her father and myself, lawful espials, will so bestow ourselves that, seeing unseen, we may of their encounter frankly judge, and gather by him, as he is behaved, if be the affliction of his love, or no, that thus he suffers for.
I shall obey you. And for your part, Ophelia, I do wish that your good beauties be the happy cause of Hamlet's wildness. So shall I hope your virtues will bring him to his wonted way again, to both your honors.
Ophelia, walk you here, gracious, so please you, we will bestow ourselves. Read on this book, that show of such exercise may color your loneliness. We are oft to blame in this. 'Tis much to prove it, that with devotion's visage and pious action we do sugar over the devil himself.
Oh, 'tis too true. How smart a lash that speech doth give my conscience. The harlot's cheek, beautied with plastering art, is not more ugly to the thing that helps it than is my deed to my most painted word. Oh, heavy burden.
I hear him coming. Let's withdraw, my lord.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing in them, to die, to sleep, no more. And by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, and the pangs of despised love, the law's delays, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietest make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of? Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied over with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action. Soft you now. The fair Ophelia, nymph in thy orisons, feel my sins remembered.
Good my lord, how does your honor for this many a day?
I humbly thank you. Well.
My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed to re-deliver. I pray you, now receive them.
No, not I. I never gave you aught.
My honored lord, you know right well you did, and with them words of sweet breath composed, as made things more rich, their perfume lost. Take these again, for to the noble mind, rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. There, my lord.
Ha ha, are you honest?
My lord?
Are you fair?
What means your lordship?
That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty?
Aye, truly, for the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty from what is to a bawd than the force of honesty can translate beauty into its likeness. That this was sometime a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once.
Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so.
You should not have believed me, for virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but we shall relish of it. I loved you not.
I was the more deceived.
Give thee to a nunnery. Why wouldest thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent honest, but yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, and more effects on my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do, crawling between heaven and earth? We are errant knaves all. Believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Where's your father?
At home, my lord?
Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in's own house. Farewell.
Oh, help him, you sweet heavens!
If thou dost marry, I give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. Get thee to a nunnery, go, farewell. Or if thou wilt needs marry a fool, for wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery go, and quickly too, farewell.
Oh, heavenly powers, restore him!
I have heard of your paintings too, well enough. God has given you one face, and you make yourself another. You jig, you amble, and you lisp, and nickname God's creatures, and make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to, I'll no more on't, it hath made me mad. I say we will have no more marriages. Those that are married already, all but one shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery, go.
Oh, what a noble mind here overthrown. The courtiers, soldiers, scholars, eye, tongue, sword, the expectancy of rows of the fair state, the glass of fashion and the mold of form, the observed of all observers, quite down, and I, of ladies most deject and wretched, that sucked the honey of his music vows, now see that noble and most sovereign reason, like sweet bells jangled, out of tune himself, that unmatched form and feature of blown youth, blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me to have seen what I have seen, see what I see.
Love, his affections do not that way tend, nor what he spake, though it lacked form a little, was not like madness. There's something in his soul, o'er which his melancholy sits on brood, and I do doubt the hatch and the disclose will be some danger, which for to prevent, I have in quick determination thus set it down. We shall with speed to England, for the demand of our neglected tribute, haply the seas and countries differ, with variable objects shall expel this something settled matter in his heart, whereon his brains still beating from fashion of himself, what think you want?
It shall do well, but yet I do believe the origin and commencement of his grief sprung from neglected love. How now, Ophelia? You need not tell us what Lord Hamlet said. We heard it all. My lord, do as you please, but if you hold fit after the play, let his queen mother all alone entreat him to show his grief. Let her be round with him, and all be placed, so please you, in the ear of all their conference. If she find him not, to England send him, or confine him where your wisdom best shall think.
It shall be so. Madness and great ones must not unwatched go.
He will come straight. Look your lay home to him. Tell him his pranks have been too broad to bear with, and that your grace hath screened and stood between much heat and him. I'll silence me even here. Pray you, be round with him.
Mother, mother, mother.
I'll warrant you. Fear me not. Withdraw. I hear him coming.
Now, mother, what's the matter?
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have thy father much offended.
He answered with an idle tongue.
Go, you question with a wicked tongue.
Why, how now, Hamlet?
What's the matter now?
Have you forgot me?
No, by the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and were it not so, you are my mother.
Nay, then, I'll set those to you that can speak.
Come, and sit you down. You shall not budge. You go not till I set you up a glass, where you may see the inmost part of you.
What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me? Help! Help! Help!
What?
How now, a rat? Dead for a second, dead.
Oh, I am slain!
Oh me, what hast thou done?
Nay, I know not. Is it the king?
Oh, what a rash and bloody deed is this?
A bloody deed? Almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother.
As kill a king?
Aye, lady, 'twas my word. Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool, farewell. I took thee for thy better. Take thy fortune. Thou findest to be too busy is some danger. Leave wringing of your hands. Peace, sit you down, and let me wring your heart. For so I shall, if it be made of penetrable stuff, if damned custom have not brazed it so, that it is proof and bulwark against sense.
What have I done that thou darest wag thy tongue in noise so rude against me?
Such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love, and sets a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as dicers' oaths. Oh, such a deed as from the body of contraction plucks the very soul and sweet religion makes a raspidity of words. Heaven's face doth glow, yea, the solidity and compound mass with tristful visage as against the doom is a thought sick at the act.
Ay me, what act that roars so loud and thunders in the index?
Look here upon this picture, and on this, the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See what grace was seated upon his brow. Hyperion's curls the front of Jove himself, an eye like Mars to threaten and command. A station like the herald Mercury, new lighted on a heaven-kissing hill. A combination of form and deed, where every god did seem to set his seal, to give the world assurance of a man. This was your husband. Look you now what follows. Here is your husband, like a mildewed ear, blasting from his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Could you on this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this moor? Ha! Have you eyes? You cannot call it love, for at your age the heyday's blood is tame, it's humble, and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment would step from this to this? Sense sure you have, else could you not have motion, but sure that sense is apoplex, for madness would not err. Nor since to ecstasy was ne'er so thralled, but it reserved some quantity of choice to serve in such a difference. What devil was't that thus has cozened you at his hoodman blind? Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smelling sans all, or but a sickly part of one true sense could not so mope. Oh shame, where is thy blush? Rebellious hell, if thou canst mutate in a matron's bones, to flaming youth let virtue be as wax, and melt in her own fire. Proclaim no shame when the compulsive ardor gives the charge, since frost itself as actively doth burn, and reason panders will.
Oh, Hamlet, speak no more. Thou turnst my eyes into my very own soul, and there I see such black and green spots as will not leave their tint.
Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an insane bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty sty?
Oh, speak to me no more. These words like daggers enter in my ears. No more, sweet Hamlet.
A murderer and a villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your president, lord, a vice of kings, a culprit of the empire and the rule, that from a shelf the precious diadem stole and put it in his pocket?
No more.
A king of shreds and patches? Save me and hover o'er me with your wings, you heavenly guards. What would your gracious figure?
Alas, he's mad.
Do you not come your tardy son to chide that lapsed in time and passion lets go by the important acting of your dread command? Oh, say.
Do not forget, this visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul. Conceit in weakest bodies, strongest works. Speak to her, Hamlet.
How is it with you, lady?
Alas, how's it with you, that you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporeal air do hold discourse? Forth at your eyes your spirits wildly peep, and as a sleeping soldier's, in the alarm, your bedded hair, like life and excrements, starts up and stands on end. O gentle sun, upon the heat and flame of thy distemper, sprinkle cool patience, whereon do you look?
On him, look you how pale he glares, his form and controlling, preaching to stones would make them capable. Do not look at me, unless with this piteous action you convert my stern effects. Then what have I to do? Will want true colored tears perchance for blood.
To whom do you speak this?
Do you see nothing here?
Nothing at all, yet all that is I see.
Nor did you nothing here?
No, nothing but ourselves.
Why, look you there, look how it steals away, my father in his habitat as he lived. Look where he goes, even now, out the portal.
This the very coinage of your brain, this bodiless creation ecstasy, is very coming in.
Ecstasy? My pulse as yours doth temporary keep time, and makes as heedful music. It is not madness that I have uttered. Bring me to the test, and I the matter will reword which madness would gamble from. Mother, for love of grace, lay not that mattering unction to your soul, that not your trespass but my madness speaks. It will but skin and film the ulcerous place, whilst rank corruption mining all within infects unseen. Confess yourselves to heaven, repent what's past, avoid what is to come, and do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them rancor. Forgive me this my virtue, for in the fatness of these pursy times, virtue itself of vice must pardon beg. Yea, curb and woo, for leave to do him good.
Oh, Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
Oh, throw away the worser part of it. I live the purer with the other half. Good night, but do not go to mine uncle's bed. Assume a virtue if you have it not. That monster, custom, who all since doth eat of habits, devil is angel yet in this, that to the use of actions fair and good, he likewise gives a frock or livery that aptly is put on. Refrain tonight, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence, the next more easy. For use almost can change the stamp of nature, and either the devil or throw him out with wondrous potency. Once more, good night, and when you are desirous to be blessed, I'll blessingly beg of you, for this the same Lord. I do repent, but heaven hath pleased it so to punish me with this, and this with me, that I must be their scourge and minister. I will bestow him, and will answer well the death I give him. So again, good night. I must be cruel only to be kind. Thus bad begins and worse remains behind. One word more, good lady.
What shall I do?
Not this by no means that I bid you do. Let the bloat king tempt you again to bed, pinch wanton on your cheek, call you his mouse, and let him for a pair of reachy kisses, or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers, make you to ravel all this matter out, that I essentially am not in madness, but mad by craft. 'Twere good you let him know, for who that's but a queen, fair, sober, wise. Would it from a padlock, from a bat, a gib, such dear concernings hide? Who would do so? No, in spite of sense and secrecy, unpeg the basket on the house's top, let the birds fly, and like the famous ape, to try conclusions in the basket creep, and break your own neck down.
Be thou assured, if words be made of breath and breath of life, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me.
I must to England, you know that.
Alack, I forgot, 'tis so concluded on.
There's letters sealed, and my two schoolfellers, whom I will trust as I will advers feigned, They bear the mandate they must sweep my way, and marshal me to knavery. Let it work, for 'tis the sport to have the engineer hoist with his own petrid, and till shall go hard, but I will delve 1 yard below their minds, and blow them at the moon. Oh, 'tis most sweet when in one line 2 crafts directly meet. This man shall set me packing, I'll lug the guts into the neighbor room. Mother, good night. Indeed, this counselor is now most still, most secret, and most grave, who was in life a foolish prating knave. Come, sir, to draw towards an end with you. Good night, mother.